Audit and assurance. In previous lecture, we have discussed about purchase system. We have discussed about sales system, the documents involved in that system, what could be the controls over that system, how to perform test of control, how to perform substantive procedures. In sales system, there were some controls on sale order, like customer creditworthiness check should be performed, stock availability check should be performed, and sale order must be pre-numbered for completeness of recording. Dispatch note must be matched with order, must have customer signature as approved, and must be pre-numbered. Sale invoice must be matched with order, must be matched with the GDN, must have arithmetic check performed, and must be pre-numbered. And ledger should be reconciled with the control account and must have aged analysis performed. PIR must be updated against physical count. While receiving cash, there should be 2% presents. Receipt should be recorded in daily receipt list and should be promptly deposited into the bank. And against receipt, cash book and receivable ledger should be updated. What was the control related to purchase system? Purchase acquisition should be signed by top management and must be pre-numbered. Orders should be processed through tendering process, mean by obtaining quotations from approved suppliers. Orders should be made according to authority levels and the limits established. While receiving the goods, to prepare GRN, quantity check must be performed, quality check must be performed, and delivery note should be matched with order and GRN must be pre-numbered. And purchase invoice must be matched with order with GRN, having arithmetic check performed and pre-numbered. And payable ledger must be reconciled with the control account, and payable ledger must be reconciled with the supplier statement. While making payment against purchases, two signatories should authorize the payment. While making payment, supporting document should be cross-cancelled, and against payment, cash book and payable ledger must be updated. We have discussed these things. Let's move towards questions. Question number 115. There are two requirements of the question, requirement A for 4 marks and requirement B for 16 marks, altogether 20 marks question. List 4 control objectives of Amberjack Company's sale and dispatch system. Mean against each control, there is a reason. That reason is called control objective. So we need to write down 4 control objectives. And while writing control objective, our sentence should always start from to ensure. Why stock availability check should be performed? To ensure orders are accepted against stock available. Why credit worthiness check should be performed? To ensure that orders are accepted from customer with a good credit worthiness and to avoid future bad debts. Why GDN should have customer signature? To ensure that companies having approved that customer has received the goods. Why invoice should be matched with order and GDN? To ensure that invoices are raised against orders and dispatches. To ensure that invoices are accurately raised. We can write down any 4 control objectives straightforward, having no link with the scenario. And pick any of the 4 controls of sales system and try to write down its reason by starting the sentence with to ensure. Mean you need to write down English, the reason behind the control. And part B of the question for 16 good marks. as external auditor of Amberjack company, write a report to management in respect of the sales and dispatch system, describe which identify and explain 7 deficiencies in the sale and dispatch system. By reading the company system, you need to identify weaknesses in the system, where companies are not following those controls of sales system. 7 control deficiencies we need to identify and recommend a control to address each of these deficiencies, and we need to recommend controls. This question is asked either in 1 requirement, 2 requirement, or 3 requirement. Like we need to highlight the deficiencies, weaknesses. Deficiencies also called weaknesses. Along with deficiency and weaknesses, we need to provide the implication, what could be the problem for company if companies are not following this control. Like while receiving order, companies are not checking customer creditworthiness. So this will be deficiency. What could be the problem? If company is not checking, there will be chances of bad debts in future. And then we need to provide recommendation. We need to explain what control should be there. So while receiving order, customer creditworthiness check must be performed. We will write down 1 weakness, its implication, its control. Then we will move towards the next weakness. Suppose GDN is not having customer signature. Customer signatures are not obtained on the GDN. What could be the problem? Company will not be having a proof that customer has received the goods. What could be the recommendation? The company should keep record of GDNs with having customer signature as a proof. Sometimes examiner asks requirement 1 to identify deficiencies, requirement 2 for implication, requirement 3 for recommendation. Sometimes they ask combine. Even if they are asking combine, we need to provide all these things. Deficiency, its implication, and recommendation. In this question, identify and explain. And explain mean through implication we can explain why this is deficiency. 7 deficiency in the sale and dispatch system. And recommend a control to address each of these deficiencies. We need to answer in 2 columns. We will prepare 1 column for these 2 things. But we'll put heading only deficiency. And in second column, we will provide the recommendations and implication. Along with deficiency, we will explain the implication as well. How many marks? 16 marks. Including a cover letter you need to write a report to management. And if examiner has asked to write a report, there is a format of report. What is the format of report? To management of Amberjack company. From it will be mentioned in the question whether you are audit manager, audit senior, or who. Audit manager. Subject. Control deficiencies in sales system. Date. Your examination date. Suppose 6th of March 2024. And then you need to provide a introduction paragraph. Like as per asked, I'm going to find deficiencies in the sales and dispatch system of a Amberjack company, and I'm also explaining what control company should adopt to overcome these deficiencies. Then you will start your answer by making 2 columns. And there are 2 marks for this. Sometimes examiner asks to write a letter. Sometimes they ask to write a memo. Sometimes ask to write a report. You should write down to whom you are writing from, you, audit manager, subject, date, introduction, and then your answer should be there. Format will be the same for all. Format will be same. Is it fine? So we need to identify 7 deficiencies. 7 deficiencies and their controls mean 14 marks for this and 2 marks for the presentation of report. Mean 2 from subject date. These are the free marks. There is no knowledge applied. It's not relating to audit. So we need to identify 7 weaknesses in the sales and dispatch system. Aberjack company manufacture and distributes car tires to a wide customer base, both in its country and across the rest of the continent. So company manufacture and distribute car tires. Its year end was 30th April 2025. It is 1st July 2025. You are an audit manager of Pinfish and Company, and you are reviewing extract of the documentation describing Aberjack's company's sales and dispatch system showing completion of the entire audit. We haven't found any weakness now because the system is not explained yet. Aberjack company has grown in size over the previous 18 months. All new customers undergo credit check prior to being accepted, and credit limits are subsequently set by the receivable ledger clerk, who record the new customer detail, assign a unique customer number, and set credit limits in the master data file. So they are checking credit worthiness. But who is checking credit worthiness? Clerk, receivable ledger clerk. And if clerk is checking creditworthiness, he is not an appropriate expert person who can ensure correct creditworthiness. He can assign even more credit limit to a customer who is known to him, who is having a relation with him. And this could create problem for the company in future for recovery. So who should be responsible for setting credit limit? Experienced person like a credit control manager. Credit control manager should be responsible for setting credit limits. Who record the new customer detail, assign a unique customer number, and set credit limits into the master data file. If a company is having computerized system, I mean company is processing everything through software. In software, there are 2 types of file. One is called master file and other is called data file. We entered all the accounting entries into the system through data file. I mean, we entered data into the system for processing from data file. And master file is a file where all the ledgers have been prepared, where all the accounting entries will be processed and recorded. Mean for new customer, you need to create a receivable ledger. Where we will create the receivable ledger? In master file. And for that customer, all the transactions should be entered through data file, and that will be automatically recorded and processed into the master file by the system. So this master file is an important file for the company. This master file is having all the receivable ledgers, having all the payable ledgers, having all the files of our employees as well. And only top management should be responsible to having access to this master file. Lower level employees should not be having access to this file. Otherwise, there could be chances of frauds. So who is creating new customer account, assigning customer number and credit limit. Again, clerk. If clerk is having access to master file, he could make fraudulent activities. He could make fraudulent transactions into the system. So who should be responsible? Like receivable director, sale director should be responsible to have access to the master file, and he should create a new customer account or delete old customer account, not the lower level employees having access to the master file. Not even the manager. Not even the manager. Top management should be having access to master file because this is very important file from business point of view. So we have identified two issues. Customer wishing to order goods, telephone the company's sales order department and provide their unique account details. Sequentially numbered 4-part sale orders are generated for all orders. And after checking available inventory levels, one copy is retained by the sale ordering team to enable them monitor progress of the sale order. One copy is sent to the customer. One copy is sent to one of the company's warehouse for dispatch, and the final copy is sent to the finance department. In one copy, they send to the customer. One ordering department retain for themselves. One they send to warehouse while receiving, while sending goods. They should compare GDN with the invoice order, and one copy they send to finance department. So while preparing sale invoice, they can compare with sale order. But you just have checked the stock availability. Has they checked the customer credit worthiness while receiving order? No. By receiving order, customer credit worthiness checks are not performed properly. He said new customers undergo credit checks. New customer undergo credit checks, while for previous customer, you also need to check how much credit limit he is having, how much he has already bought, whether he is credit worthy or not, whether he has paid the amount in previous on time. If he didn't pay the amount on time in previous, this means he is not credit worthy. Okay. So while receiving order, you are checking stock availability, but not the credit worthiness. And this could result into bad debts in the future, like company will be struggling to receive amount from the customer. So credit worthiness check should also be performed while receiving order. Okay. Upon dispatch, a 3-part good dispatch note GDN is completed, which is assigned the same sequential number as the order number. You are preparing GDN, but you are preparing GDN with the same number of order number rather than its own sequential number. Because sometimes customer made an order of 100 units, and after a few time he realized no, 100 units are not fulfilling my requirement. I should order 20 units more. So he ordered, before dispatching, he ordered 20 units more. This means while delivering, you have to deliver how many units? 120. And if there are 2 orders, which order number you will assign the number to GDN? There could be problem. So GDN should be having its own sequentially numbered rather than the same number of sale order. Because sometimes GDNs could be more than order, or order could be more than GDNs. So every document must be having its own sequential number rather than as per the previous document. Sometimes you deliver half the goods now, remaining you will half deliver after production. So there are two GDNs, while order was one. Now you are preparing two GDNs with the same number. So GDN should be having its own sequential number rather than according to sale order. Otherwise, there could be problem. There could be problem like if suppose any GDN is missing, mean order not processed. So it will not be recorded properly. Like you have delivered, but there is no GDN copy in the record. This means there will be no invoice for that as well. If you are keeping the same number of order GDN and invoices. So GDN should be prepared with its own separate sequential number rather than according to the sale order number. One copy is sent with the goods, one remain with the warehouse, and one is sent to the finance department. Are you obtaining customer signature on GDN? No. Company is not obtaining customer signature on the GDN. What could be the implication? In future, customer can deny from that he haven't received the goods, and you will be having no proof to justify you have delivered the goods. So what could be the control? Company should send two copies of GDN to the customer with the delivery. One copy customer will retain, and second he will sign and return back to the company. That company should keep in record. How many issues? Two issues here. Two issues here. One sequential number and second, no signature of customer on GDN. Due to the recent growth of the company, and as there are a large number of sale invoices, additional temporary staff members have been appointed to help the sale clerk to produce the sale invoices. Mean companies are having too much invoices and the staff is short, so they have appointed some temporary staff to process the invoices. If company is using temporary staff, he might be not having the detailed knowledge about preparing invoices for the company, because for every company, invoice preparation system is different. Invoice format is different for every company. So if they are not having experience or skill to prepare invoices, they could produce wrong invoices. Invoices could contain any of the errors, and that can affect our customer if we are charging more or less than the original amount. What company need to do? They should appoint permanent trained staff for processing invoices, or this temporary staff should be trained first and then should be assigned the task of preparing the invoices. The sale invoices are prepared using quantities from the GDNs, mean compared with GDNs, and prices from the authorized sale price list, which is updated every 6 months. Whether the price should be charged as per the order or from the price list that is updated every 6 months. They should compare invoices with order and charge the same price that agreed with the order. If they are checking price from the price list that is updated every 6 months, so price list might be too old, while new prices are different than the price list because price list is not updated yet. So they can charge either more or less price that agreed with the customer while receiving the order. And this can affect our customer as well. So company should charge the price on invoice by comparing the invoice from sale order rather than the list. Or if they are charging price as per price list, then price list should be updated on regular basis. Because if every 6 months price list is updated, It might be showing old prices while new price could be different. Because prices do not remain same for 6 months. This year, in line with its main competitor, the company offered a 10% discount on all orders placed during 1 week in late November. And when a discount has been given, this has to be manually entered by the sale clerk onto the sequentially numbered invoice. Who is entering the discount? Clerk. He could provide discount to a customer who is known to him. And he is manually entering the discount. So there could be chances of errors that will result into wrong amount of invoices and it can affect the customer. Either you are charging more or if you are charging less, this will not be beneficial for the company. So a senior person other than sale clerk like a sale manager or sale director should be responsible for assigning discount and discount should be entered onto the invoice through automated system rather than manual to avoid human error. Customers' statement are no longer being generated and sent out mean you are not sending monthly customer statement like your supplier sent to you. So you are supplier of your customer. You should also send your customer monthly statement like this was the balance at start of month. During month, these were the sales, these were the sale return, these were the payments. So this is your ending balance. But you are not sending to the customer their statement. If you are not sending to the customer, then might be customer books are having a different balance and you are having different balance. This could result into delay in receiving payment from the customer. Could create dispute with the customer over the amounts because you are not updating him on regular basis. So company should prepare and send customer statements on monthly basis so that balances can be agreed with the customers. The company only reconcile the receivable ledger control account at the end of April in order to verify the year-end balances. Mean you reconciling receivable ledger with control account, but once in a year, end of April. If during the year you are not reconciling, there could be differences, there could be posting errors that have not been adjusted. And at the end of year, there might be too many errors requiring adjustment. So what you need to do on a regular, say monthly basis, receivable ledger should be reconciled with the control account to investigate and correct any differences. How many?
Wait. Can you explain number 8 again, please?
Number 8.
Yeah.
What was number 8?
This time.
Who is entering discount? Who is allowing discount to the customer? Clerk. There should be at least a manager level person. And he is entering discount on invoices manually. So if he is entering manually, there could be errors. While because you are providing 10% discount on sales value. So either to calculate 10% figure or to write down the figure, there could be errors. Because after deducting the discount, you are preparing the net sales value. So there could be errors. So invoices should be prepared, automated through a system to avoid human errors. And a person other than clerk should be responsible for deciding and allowing discount to the customer like sale manager. So is that fine? This was easy question.
Okay. How did I like
You want to see the answer?
no.
Let me check. 150, 150. Yeah. Control deficiency and control recommendation. If the sale order department does not have received a copy of the completed GDN, they are not able to monitor if orders are being fulfilled. Additional staff have been drafted to help the sales clerk produce the sales invoices, as the extra staff will not be having experience. There is increased risk of mistakes made by the sale invoices. So these are the recommendations. In implication and weakness, now we are explaining in one column, and other column is just for the recommendation, in what controls company should adopt. So let's move towards the next question. That is on purchases system. Requirement A of the question. This requirement we will study in next chapter. Requirement B we can cover now. For 15 marks, in respect of the purchase and payable system for Comet Publishing Company, identify and explain 5 deficiencies, mean one column for deficiencies. Recommend a control to address each of these deficiencies. Second column for recommendation. Obviously, in deficiency, we need to provide the implication as well. And a third column, describe a test of control the auditor should perform to assess if each of these controls, if implemented, is operating effectively to reduce identified deficiency. Mean in one column, you need to provide the deficiency. In second column, you need to provide the recommendation as we done in previous question. And the recommendation in control you have recommended, you need to write down test of control for that control in the third column. In how you will test whether this control you have recommended is working or not. Test of control evidence will be sought by observation, by inspection, or if they are documents, select a sample of document and test for evidence its control. This part is a bit tricky. Weaknesses, recommendation, it's easy part. Right? If you need to write down test of control regarding the control you have recommended, this part is a little bit tricky. So let's discuss this question. And for 15 marks, this means 5 marks for deficiencies, 5 marks for recommendation, and 5 marks for test of control. Question number 116. So you are an audit supervisor of Halley and Company, and you are reviewing the documentation describing a Comet Publishing Company's purchase and payable system in preparation for the interim and final audit for the year ending 30th September 20x7. The company is a retailer of books and has 10 stores and a central warehouse, which holds the majority of the company's inventory. The company is a book retailer company. Your firm has audited Comet Publishing Company for a number of years, and as such, audit documentation is available from the previous year's file. Through audit documentation, you are getting the information about the company system, including internal control flow charts and detailed purchase and payable system notes. As far as you are aware, Comet Publishing Company is a system, company's system of internal control has not changed in the last year. The audit manager is keen for the team to utilize existing system documentation in order to ensure audit efficiency. An extract from the existing system notes is provided below. there is nothing relating to our requirement to be in this paragraph.
Existing system documentation is one.
Main company system is not changed, and you were the auditor in previous year as well. In previous year, you obtained the understanding of the entity and its control, and you write down the notes. Now you are understanding the system through that notes.
But you are, so isn't that like a risk that they have changed?
Now you have assured that there is no change as compared to previous year.
Oh.
Extract of purchase and payable system. From where we need to identify weaknesses, we need to provide recommendation. And for that recommendation control, we need to write down best of control. Okay, store managers are responsible for ordering books for their shops. It is not currently possible for store manager to request a book from any of other 9 stores. Customer who wish to order books which are not in stock at the branch visited are told to contact the other store directly or visit the company website. There is issue. If customer is coming to one store to buy a product and that product is not available there, you are guiding the customer, you can visit our dash store or you can check quantity from our website. If that store is too far, obviously in one area, you will not be having more than one store. And you are having competitor nearby you. Will customer buy from you or from your competitor? He will buy from competitor. Okay, instead, you are guiding him go to our that branch or check on website. You should check where that inventory is available in your store. Either you can guide the customer, this inventory is available on that branch, you can move over there. Or you should ask the customer who will arrange this product by tomorrow and you can collect tomorrow. What is the reason? The stores are not interrelated with each other. All the stores are not interrelated with each other. They should be interrelated with each other. In fact, there should be a system through which you can check where this inventory is located so that you can call that store. You are having this inventory and we are having customer for that inventory. Please deliver this inventory to us either by tomorrow morning. And you can request the customer, you can collect it tomorrow. This will be available there. What's the reason? Why you are not guiding the customer properly? Because your stores are not interrelated with each other. Might be in some stores there is inventory available, but there is no demand of that type of inventory in that area. Because some products are demanded in one area more rather than in other area. I wasn't able to find. So that inventory could become obsolete. Search on Apple Music in other stores. No, I'm not like that. So that inventory could become obsolete in other store where there is no demand, but you are having demand for that product. So company could bear obsolete inventory losses if there is no interrelation between different branches, different stores. So what could be the control?
The deficiencies of store inventories are not connected.
Store inventory is not connected. Our stores are not interconnected with each other.
And what could be the reason?
What could be the reason? Because they are not having the system from where they can locate where this inventory is residing. They are not having a communication with the other store managers. How communication can be established? By implementing a system. Because through system, you can check where this inventory is located, and then you can contact with that store manager either through WhatsApp, through email, or through call, and request that inventory should be delivered to you so that you can deliver to customer. And due to this, no interconnection between stores, company will be losing its customers towards competitors. Nah. So what should be the control? Company should implement a system for interconnecting different stores so that company can check inventory availability at different stores. What should be the test of control? You have recommended the control. Now you need to perform test of control whether this control is working properly or not. How we can test this control? Evidence will be sought by inquiry from store managers whether the interconnected system between different store is available or not. Evidence will be sought by inquiry from store manager whether companies are having interconnected system between different stores or not. Is that fine? Test of control. For writing test of control, we need to use the wording of procedure to collect evidence. Inspection, observation, inquiry, confirmation, recalculation. We need to use any of the word. So evidence will be sought by inquiry from store manager. Is that fine? Okay. As the inventory level fall in a store, in companies having low inventory, the store manager raise a purchase requisition form, which is sent to the central warehouse. If there is insufficient inventory held, a supplier requisition form is completed and sent to the purchase order clerk Oliver Dancer for processing. No, there is not only one supplier. So the store manager raises a purchase requisition form, which is sent to the central warehouse. If there is insufficient inventory held, a supplier requisition form is completed and is sent to the purchase order clerk or lever dancer for processing, mean he need to place order according to the purchase requisition. So requisition is there. He sends any order above 1,000 for authorization from the purchase director. I mean, there is authority level and limits established. Has he obtained quotation by placing order? No. So tendering process is not followed while placing orders. I.e., companies not calling quotation from approved suppliers before placing order. What could be the issue? If company is not calling quotation, company could miss a high quality, low price that might be offering any other supplier. That will result into losses for the business. So quotation should be called from approved supplier before placing the order. What could be the test of control? You have recommended a control like order should be processed by obtaining quotations. What could be test of control? What could be test of control? Evidence will be sought by inspection. Like for each order, there are quotations from different suppliers. You can inspect documents. Evidence will be sought by inspection. Like for each order, there are quotations from approved suppliers. Is it fine? We can visit the ordering department and we can inspect, okay, this is order. Where are the quotations relating to this order? If there are no quotations, this means this control is not working.
So for the reason, can we just say that lack of system
Lack of system for?
for like whatever, like for store inventories, lack of invites, like lack of connected inventory systems,
Yeah, you can see that.
and lack of tendering process.
Yeah, you can see that. Okay, then another issue. So we have identified how many issues? One here, second here, and now the third issue. The clerk Oliver Dancer for processing the order, and he sends any order above 1,000 for authorization from the purchase director. This means order below 1,000 are processed by clerk himself. And for clerk, 1,000 amount is too much. He could make personal use item orders that are of below 1,000 amount. Mean there is no authorization for order below 1,000. So he could make personal use item for small orders below 1,000. This will increase liabilities for the company. So there should be authorization process. Like if ordering clerk, purchase order clerk is making order, then the purchase order manager should be authorizing the order below 1,000. What could be the test of control? Select a sample of orders below 1,000 amount and test for evidence they are authorized by any person other than clerk. I mean, there should be signature, authorization signature. I mean, before placing order, before sending order, he will sign and then he will send. So select a sample of purchase order below 1,000 amount, below $1,000 amount. Please specify the currency as well. Below $1,000 amount to ensure that there are authorized person signature other than purchase order clerk. Because we have recommended a control, so now we are testing whether that control is working properly or not. Might be in previous year we recommended this control, and now we are testing whether this control is working properly or not. Is it fine? 3. We need to identify 5. And there are 2 more paragraphs left. This is not difficult question. You can identify required number of points easily if you have practiced 5, 6 questions by hand. Receipt of goods from supplier are processed by the warehouse team who agree the delivery to the purchase order. In delivery note is matching with purchase order. Checking quantity check, quality of goods, mean quality check, quantity checks are performed, and complete a sequentially numbered GRN, and they have prepared pre-numbered GRN. So all the 4 controls they have performed. The GRNs are sent to accounts department every 2 weeks for processing. This is the issue. If you are sending GRN copies to accounts department every 2 weeks, this could result into delay in payments to the supplier. And if you are making delay payments to the suppliers, why? Because the department who need to make payment, they are not having the information for the goods received on time. So if you are making too late payment, it could affect our relationship with the supplier. And through this bad relationship with the supplier, might be in future supplier will not be willing to provide goods on credit, might be not willing to provide us more discount because we are making late payment. What's the reason? Our process is not quicker enough. What we need to do? The GRN's copy should be provided to finance department on daily basis rather than after 2 weeks, so that they can process invoices quickly. What could be the test of control? How we can make sure they are sending to the invoicing department on daily basis or regular basis rather than after 2 weeks? Evidence will be sought by inquiry.
Or comparison on GRN and
Or you can select a sample of invoices and compare with the GRNs, whether GRNs available on regular time basis or not. Because if there are no GRN against invoices, this means they are not sending, transferring GRN on timely basis. Or you can say evidence will be sought by inquiry whether GRNs are sent to the invoicing department on a daily basis or not. Through inquiry, you can ask question when you are sending GRN copies to the invoicing department. How long it will take to transfer GRN's copies to the invoicing department. So we can make these kind of inquiry questions to take evidence whether they have been sent on regular basis or not. Okay, on receipt of the purchase invoice from the supplier, the accounts clerk matches it to the GRN. The invoice is then sent to the purchase ordering clerk or lever who process it for payment. The finance director is given the total amount of the payment list, which she authorizes and then process the bank payments. And due to staff shortages in the accounts department, supplier statement reconciliation are no longer performed. There is one issue they have highlighted. You are not reconciling payable ledger with the supplier statement. If there is no reconciliation, there could be disagreement over the balances. And this disagreement will result into delay in payments, will affect relationship with the supplier. So supplier statement should be reconciled with supplier ledger, payable ledger on regular basis to identify and correct any discrepancies. What could be the test of control? Evidence will be sought by inspection that supplier statements are reconciled with the payable ledger and differences adjusted. Or you can re-perform supplier statement reconciliation with the payable ledger to identify differences and verify they have been adjusted. Because if there are differences, this means this is not performed. If there are no differences through your re-performance, this means differences resolved through reconciliation. And there is one more issue. The invoice is matched with the GRN sent to the order clerk or lever who process it for payment. And who is authorizing payments? Finance director is authorizing. So there are two signatories. Whether they are processing payments by checking, canceling the supporting document. No. Say. Finance director is not having the invoice copy. Where is invoice copy? With the clerk. Finance director, what he is doing, he is just authorizing the payments through a payment list. He is not authorizing by checking the supporting document. He should authorize by cross cancelling the supporting document so that this supporting document should not come for payment again. He should ensure, okay, these payments are genuine. Clerk can include any of personal payment in the payment list that finance director has approved and he will make payment if he is not checking the supporting document. The supporting document is not checked, cross cancelled while authorizing the payment. Clerk could include any personal payments into the payment list that could be authorized by the finance director and he will pay. Or the supporting document could come for double payment. because clerk is having colluded with the supplier, I will process double payment. And for one payment, half is your, half will be mine. And normally in industry practice, they do these things, especially the persons who are responsible for purchasing. So what should be the control? Finance director should cross cancel the sporting document while authorizing the payment. What we need to do? We need to select a sample of payment list, payments authorized, and take evidence by comparing with the sporting document to ensure whether it is cross cancelled or not. So there are 6 points we have identified, and we need to identify 5. If you are identifying more than required now, this means in exam pressure, you will at least be able to identify the required point. Learning, we are learning how to identify points. Learning. Is that fine? Shall we move forward? Describe the substantive procedure that auditor should perform to obtain sufficient and appropriate evidence in relation to Comet Publishing Company's purchases and other expenses. For other expenses, we are unable to write down. But for purchases, can we write down substantive procedure? Any 1, 2 for occurrence, 1, 2 for completeness, trace a sample of GRNs to relevant invoices and agree detail. This is to ensure GRNs have been converted into invoices. Cut off. Trace a sample of GRNs raised in the last week of current period to relevant invoices and ledger balances. This is to ensure purchases and payables have been recorded into current period only. So we can write down 2, 3 procedure for purchases, and remaining 2 procedure we will be able to write down for other expenses when we will learn that. Is it fine? No, we can cover requirement 3 as well. Other information, conflict of interest. Here we have studied this word conflict of interest in ethics. In ethics, in self-interest threat. Due to conflict of interest, self-interest threat will arise. ACCA company has recently accepted the audit engagement of new client Edmond company. Currently, we are auditor of Comet Publishing Company. Now we are going to accept audit of new client Edmond company along with Comet Publishing Company. Who is the main competitor of Comet Publishing Company? And if you are auditing to competitor company, there could be issue of confidentiality. Mean through your staff, information could be leaked out between to competitor clients. So you need to take some steps. Otherwise, there will be self-interest that affecting your independence objectivity. What could be the steps? You need to take permission from both the clients first. Then you need to create Chinese wall, separate team for Edmond company, separate team for Comet, if they agree. Team should be arranged from different offices. There should be written agreement with audit team not to disclose confidential information between clients. And if either of the client do not agree, we have to resign either for Comet or to decline the offer of Edmond company. The finance director of Comet Publishing Company has acquired how Halle and Company will keep information obtained during the audit confidentiality. Explain the safeguard which Halle and Company should implement to ensure that the identified conflict of interest is properly managed. For 5 marks, you need to explain the safeguard. We need to take permission from both client company first. If they agree, we need to arrange a separate audit team for commit, separate team for admon. Team should be arranged from different audit firm offices. There should be written agreement signed between audit team members not to disclose confidential information between each other. And if either of the client is disagree, then we can continue one. Either we should continue commit and decline admon, or if we're gonna accept admon, then we should resign from the commit. For 5 marks, easy 5 marks. Easy 5 marks.
For this five, we have to, how many points should we?
5 points, 5 safeguard. Don't need to explain threat because they have asked for the safeguard only. Permission, separate team from different offices, written agreement. If either of the client disagree, then 2 points more. Accept this, resign from that, or continue this and decline that. Okay. So we have covered a sales system, we have covered a purchase system. Now we are moving towards payroll system.
Oh, wait, can, uh, come for questions I can do at home?
Yeah.
Like which ones? Can I have a seat?
You need to attempt these 2 questions at home. And you can attempt question. Attempt the question. I'll provide you question number after the break. Yeah. I'll provide you question number after the break. Okay. So sales system, purchase system, we have covered. Now we are moving towards payroll system, also called wages system. So let's discuss the system first. And then we will move towards highlighting controls in that system. Then we will discuss test of control and substantive procedure. Okay, when an employee is joining a company, before joining, what he need to do, he need to fill a application form, or he need to submit his CV. If he is applying online, he need to fill application form, or he need to submit a CV. Even in application form, some companies require CV as well. And according to that CV, company will be aware whether this candidate is meeting the required criteria of that particular job or not. If he is meeting, after shortlisting from different application, company will call the employee for interview. In interview, they will discuss certain things. Whether this employee will work normal time or also work overtime. What could be the rate for normal work? If he will work overtime, what could be the rate, either double of normal time or 1.5 of normal time? Whether he will work, if company is having 3 shifts of employees, which shift he will work, day, evening, night? Whether he will work on Saturday, Sunday as well? How many holidays will be allowed? I mean, everything between company and employee will be discussed in the interview. Rate, mainly rate, overtime rate, and holidays. If employee interview is successful, he will become employee. If interview is not successful, he will be sent back home. So he has passed the interview successfully, he has become employee. After becoming employee, what company will do? Company will provide a contract of employment. In contract of employment, joining date will be mentioned. His rate per hour will be mentioned. His department will be mentioned. Working hours will be mentioned. And for each employee, company maintain a file of each employee. In that file, company need to keep all the records of the employees, his detail, his address, his pay rate, his experience, his qualification, everything is in employee file, and that file is called employee records, where employee rate per hour, overtime rate, holidays, training records, everything will be recorded in the employee record file. Okay. Now, employee at start of the day, before starting the work, he will perform clock in. Mean either he will insert the card in a machine and the machine will write down the start time. Either he will scan a card on a scanner and start time will automatically be recorded into the system. Or either he will record the start time by putting thumb impression or through face ID into the system, his start time will be recorded. And then he will move towards shop floor. Shop floor mean area where he will work. And at the end of day, he need to clock out. Again, the similar manner he has clock in. So through clock in, clock out, his hours worked will be recorded either on the card, either into the system. Okay. From his record, company will take the rate from this clock card system. Company will generate the hours worked for the month, for the week, and by multiplying hours into rate, company will be able to prepare its payroll. Means payroll is calculated now. How company will make payment? For all the employees, company will sign a check, draw the money from the bank, and then company will put the cash for each employee into packets, and then they will hand over to the employee. Our company will simply provide the check to the employee. Employee will take the check to the bank. From bank, he will receive cash, and cash is handed over to the employee. Along with the pay, company also provide pay slip to the employee. What is pay slip? Pay slip is a page having detail of your payment. On this pay slip, your name, your employee number is mentioned. The month for which you are receiving payment is will be mentioned, and your hours work detail. Suppose employee is allowed 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. This means he can work, if there are 4 weeks, he can work 160 hours in a week. Suppose he has worked 160 hours and the normal rate is 10. This means 1600 is the normal rate. He has also worked 20 hours as overtime, and overtime rate is double than the normal. So there will be 400. So 2000 is what his gross pay. And he is paying a tax, say at the rate of 10%. So 200 tax will be deducted that company will pay on behalf of the employee. He's also contributing some amount for the pension. Might be he's contributing for some amount for the pension, that is also 200. And this means his net pay is 1600. This means if he is receiving 1600 at the end of the month, where is the detail for that 1600? This will be provided to him through pay slip a page. In company also provide a pay slip to the employees so that he should be aware why I'm receiving 1600, why I'm receiving 800. So this pay slip will provide detail to the employee. We are talking about wages laborers who worked on hourly basis, who also work overtime, and they will getting pay for overtime extra. Okay, so for against payroll, company have prepared pay slip for each employee. And company will pay posting summary, mean company need to update the ledger as well. What ledger will be updated? Wages account, deductions account, mean tax account, pension account, that will also be updated. And when company have signed the check, they will record entry into cash book as well. So wages debit, cash or bank credit. So this is the system of payroll. Now we need to discuss what are the controls. What should be the controls in this system? Okay. In employee records, now first, there are three types of processes in this system. One process is this employee record maintenance. Record maintenance means preparing his file and updating his file. And this should be a function of a personnel department. Or you can say this should be a function of HR department. Mean who should maintain employee records, personnel or HR department. There is another system of recording hours and preparing payroll. This should be assigned to wages department. And there is another function of payout, mean making payment to the employees. This should be a function of accounts or finance department. So what's the first control? There should be segregation of duty. Mean there should be separate staff for employee record maintenance and wage preparation. Mean there should be separate staff for employee record maintenance, mean personnel department and wages department. These should be separate department. Why? If there is one department, there are chances they will create fictitious employees and record their hours by themselves so that payment should be moved into their bank account. So to avoid creation of fictitious employees, there should be segregation of duty between employee record maintenance and wage preparation. There should be segregation of duty between wage preparation and wage payout as well. Mean for recording hours, there should be separate department. For payment, there should be separate department. If it's the same people who's recording hours as well as paying, what they will do, they will create fictitious hours and will make a payment into their pocket. Create fictitious hours for any employee and we'll ask them, okay, while making payment, I will pay you something extra. So that extra we will distribute half and half. So that's why wage preparation and wage payout should be separate department, mean there should be segregation of duty between employee record maintenance and wage preparation to avoid fictitious employees. And there should be segregation of duty between wage preparation and wage payout to avoid fictitious hours recording payment. Two controls. Third control. In the employee record, company need to take two references for each employee. References should be obtained for each employee. In nowadays, companies ask two references. References mean you need to name any two persons in the industry who are familiar with you. And the company confirm from those people whether you know this person. Why? Because if employee is involved in any kind of a fraud with the company and he disappear, so company can trace that employee from the reference given people. To avoid future fraud by the employee, company need to take two references for each employee. And those references details should be kept in their employee file in their employee records. This is a good control. This is good payroll control, good HR control. Like for each employee, company need to take 2 references so that the fraudsters can be captured through people who provided the references. And if employee has provided references, obviously he will be careful. Like I have provided reference of those people. If I do something wrong, that will be informed to them. So my repute will be affected in the industry, not only in the industry, to my friends who have provided reference for me. And through this, company can avoid future frauds by the employees. Okay, next control. This clock in, clock out process should be supervised. If you have given a card to the employee at the start of the work, you need to scan this card. At end of the work, you need to scan this card. One employee might be scanning more than one card, like of absent employees as well. Through this, absent employee hours can also be recorded into the system. So there should be a supervisor who's ensuring that every employee recording, scanning his card and only one card. Otherwise, absent employees' hours could also be recorded. Is that fine? And then overtime should be authorized by foreman. Who is foreman? Shift supervisor, under whom employees are working. Why company require overtime? Why companies require overtime? To reach that daily target. Suppose in your company, you are producing these chairs and you are having 10 employees in your department to produce 10 chairs on daily basis. This is your target. Every day you have to produce 10 chairs and you are having 10 employees. Suppose on any day, if 2 employees are absent, can you complete your target with 8 employees? No. 8 employees will produce 8 chairs. And to meet the target, what you will do, you will request the 8 employees, please work 2 hours overtime today. Who is requesting that? This foreman who need to complete the target. If he is requesting the employees to work overtime, he need to sign on their clock cards. This 2 hours overtime is required by me. Otherwise, might be employees going late from work and scanning after late hours, but haven't performed any overtime. Like employees' normal shift is 9 to 5. How many hours? 8 hours. If at 5 o'clock an employee finishes work, he went to canteen. In canteen, there was a match on the screen. He enjoyed the match for 2 hours. And at 7 o'clock, he performed clock out. Now system has recorded 9 to 7 mean 10 hours. Whether these extra 2 hours overtime he has done for the company? No. That's why overtime should be authorized by the foreman. Yes, these 2 hours required by me, these are overtime for the company. If there is no signature on overtime by the supervisor, work not done for the company might be paid. Because these 2 hours not done for the company. So that's why overtime should be authorized. So clock in, clock out process should be supervised to avoid recording of absent employee hours. Overtime should be authorized to avoid work not done for the controls. Okay, next. Payroll has been prepared how? Hours into rate. There should be arithmetic check on the payroll. Mean if payroll has been prepared, one other person should perform the arithmetic check, means should check the calculation to identify there is no error in calculation. So there should be arithmetic check of the payroll to verify its accuracy. So you have prepared the payroll before producing list of payment. Mean after preparing the payroll, but before starting initiating payments or producing list of payment, there should be reasonableness test. Reasonableness test. What is this? You need to compare current payroll with the budgeted payroll. What is budget? Future plan. You need to compare current payroll with budgeted payroll or previous payroll to identify any differences. Might be your current payroll is showing amount of wages is 1,000, while your budget for this month is 900. This means you have 100 more than budget. There is a variance of 100. Why there is a variance of 100? You have asked the employee or you have used more hours in this month. This means you need to ask the supervisor, you have used more hours in this month. So these hours should be reduced in next month so that at the end of year, there shouldn't be any variance. So after preparing payroll, but before producing list of payment, mean before making payment, reasonableness test should be performed, i.e. comparing the current payroll with the budgeted payroll to identify and control variances. What is the reasonableness test? Compare current with budget to control the variances. So there should be segregation of duty between employee record maintenance and wage preparation to avoid fictitious employees creation. There should be segregation of duty between wage preparation and wage payout to avoid fictitious hours payment. Two references must be obtained for each employee. Why? To avoid future fraud by the employees. Clock and clocker process should be supervised to avoid recording of absent employee hours. Overtime should be authorized by foreman to avoid work not done for the company. Payroll must be having arithmetic check performed for accuracy. Reasonableness test should be performed to identify and control variances. Okay, now moving forward. If company is assigning a check for payment, two signatories must sign the check. There should be two persons responsible, like one director will authorize and then accountant will make the payment. Chief accountant will authorize the payment and then accountant will sign the check and make the payment. There should be two persons. Two signatures should be there. Two persons must be authorized for making payment. Okay. Next. Sometime company pay check to employees. Sometime company pay cash to employees. How company pay cash? Company will withdraw cash from the bank for all employees on the payday and then put the cash into packets and then hand over to the employees. If company is paying cash and withdrawing money on the payday from the bank, that money is huge amount, significant. So this cash transportation from a bank to company should be under security. Secure transportation of cash from bank. Otherwise, there will be chances of any theft during the way from bank to company because employees are aware on this day company make payment. This means company will withdraw money from the bank. So there could be chances of robbery on the way from bank to company. So cash transportation from bank to company should be under security. When you are giving payment to employees, you need to obtain signature from employees while making payment. Otherwise, you will be having no proof that you have given the payment to the employees. Employee could ask, I haven't received the payment. If there are so many. So that's why employee signature should be obtained while giving them the payments.
Only for cash.
Only for cash or even for check. Unless the check is a cross check.
Okay.
Because might be laborers are not having any bank account, so you are giving them cash check, open check. But in any case, you have to obtain signature from the employees. If he haven't deposited the check, he lost the check and saying, I haven't received the check. So in that case, you have to take signature. We have provided it. Okay, that's fine. So cash transportation from bank to company should be under security. And while making payment, employee signature should be obtained. If on the payday, any employee is absent, this means you need to pay him on the next day when he will come. And this wages that you haven't provided to the employee on the payday because he is absent, this will be called unclaimed wages. Wages. You need to keep these unclaimed wages secure, should be securely placed. So that on the next day you can pay to the employees, or it's better you should rebank into the bank. On the next day, you should withdraw again and then pay to the employee. Because if you keep the cash in company, there will be chances of misuse. If you don't have any secure drawer where you can keep the cash properly. So unclaimed wages should be securely placed or should be rebanked. So what are the controls? There should be segregation of duty between employee record maintenance and wage preparation. There should be segregation of duty between wage preparation and wage payout. Two signature must be obtained for all, two reference should be obtained for all employees. Clock in, clock out process should be supervised. Overtime should be authorized by foreman. Arithmetic check should be performed on payroll. Before producing list of payment, reasonableness test should be performed to control the variances. Two signatories authorize the payments. Cash must be transported from bank to company under security. Employee signature must be obtained while giving them payment. And unclaimed wages should be securely placed. There are two more controls. One for joiners and one for leavers. Joiners, new employees who have joined the company new. What happened? Their payments should be made when they have started the work. Before start date, their payment shouldn't be made. Sometimes what happens if their relatives like their brother are also in the company, when they came for interview, their hours have been recorded and paid. When they came for submitting CV application, their hours have been recorded and paid. So to make sure Joiners have been paid from the day of starting the work. What you need to do, you need to compare clock cards of joiners with contract of employment. Because through contract of employment, you will able to identify their start date. And your clock card, you need to compare with contract of employment clock cards having recorded hours from the day of joining rather than before day of joining. And for leavers, if an employee left the company on 20th of the month and company pay on first for the complete 30 days. So might be there are some colleagues who are recording their hours even after 20th onward. So what we need to do, leavers card should be removed from system. Mean their record should be removed from system on day of leaving. So that after leaving their hours should not be recorded. The day employee has left, we need to remove him from the system. We need to deactivate his access card. Is that fine? So that joiner should be paid after the date of joining, not before that. And leaver should be paid to the date of work, not after leaving the company. So these are the controls mentioned here. Wage rate and any changes should be authorized by personnel department and wage personnel. Mean there should be segregation of duty. Wage preparation and wage payout should be separate department. Two references must be obtained. Clock in, clock out process should be supervised. Overtime should be authorized by foreman. Check should be signed by two signatories. Reasonableness has to be performed before signing the check. Cash should be transported under security. Signature must be obtained. Unclaimed wages should be securely placed or rebanked. And deduction should be paid on due date and should be made according to correct rate and table. Because there is a different tax rate for different income people. And that rate is available in a tax rate table. If you are calculating tax or calculating any pension, that should be according to correct rate and table. And these deductions mean tax should be paid on due date because you are paying on behalf of employees. And for joiners, leavers, we have right now. What could be the control objectives? Authorization of wage rate and changes should be responsible for HR department. To ensure wages are paid only for work done. What is the control? Overtime should be authorized by foreman. To ensure wages are paid only to bona fide employees, not to fictitious employees. That's why there should be segregation of duty between record maintenance, wage preparation, and wage payout. Otherwise, if it's the same department, they will create fictitious employee, will record fictitious hours, and will transfer payment into their pocket or account. To ensure that wages are paid at a correct rate, systematic check should be performed. To ensure that wages are paid only from employee date of starting, joiners control, mean compare their clock card to contract of employment. To ensure that wages are paid only to the employee's date of leaving, that wages accurately computed. So that's why he should be deactivated from the system on the day of leaving. To ensure that reductions are properly accounted for and paid by their due dates, so should be made according to correct rate table. To ensure that unclaimed wages are controlled and properly recorded, that should be securely placed or rebanked. To ensure that employee has actually received the wages, signature should be obtained. So these are the control objectives. Test of control. How we can check there is segregation of duty between record maintenance, wage preparation, and wage payout? Evidence will be sought by inquiry. Who is responsible for record maintenance? Who is responsible for wage preparation? Who is responsible for wage payment? How we can check two references are obtained for each employees? Select a sample of employee records and test for evidence references have been obtained for each employees. How we can check clock in, clock out process is supervised? Observation. Evidence will be sought by observation. At start and at end of day, clock card process is supervised by the supervisor. How we can check overtime is authorized by foreman? Evidence will be sought by inspection. Evidence will be sought by inspection of document. Overtime is authorized by foreman, whether he is writing on a sheet, whether he's writing on employee cards. If he is writing on sheet, we will inspect that sheet. If he is writing on clock cards that is inserted into the machine, punching into the machine, then we can inspect those clock cards. Overtime sign are there for foreman. How we can make sure employees' signatures are obtained while giving them payment? Evidence will be sought by observation. Employee signatures is obtained while giving them payment. When? On the payday. How we can check payroll is prepared as per correct rate? Select a sample of payroll and compare with respective employee record to ensure payroll is prepared as per correct rate. How we can ensure correct hours have been charged while preparing payment? Local time. Select a sample of employee payroll and compare with clock cards to ensure correct hours have been charged while calculating payroll. In how we can check, we need to write down in English. How we can verify this? Try to keep in mind either through observation, either through inspection, either through comparison, either through inquiry. You need to write down that word. Let's take a break. After break, we will cover good question on payroll. Here is this. Huh? Question on wages system. Question 117. Requirement A1 and A2 for 10 marks. In respect of the payroll system for Raspberry company, identify and explain 5 direct controls which the auditor may seek to place reliance on. By reading the scenario, you have to identify 5 controls that companies are following in payroll system. And describe a test of control the auditor should perform to assess if each of these direct controls is operating effectively, and against each control, you need to write down test of. And then there is a requirement B for 10 marks. Identify and explain 5 deficiencies in Raspberry's payroll system and provide a recommendation to address each of these deficiencies.
And the exam also will give in the form of a table.
Yeah. That's why they have provided you table. Like here, you need to write down control, and against each control, you need to write down its test of control. So let's read the scenario. We need to identify the controls that are working in the organization, and we need to identify deficiencies as well. But you're gonna do first A or B? A, okay. Controls. Raspberry company operates an electric power station which produces electricity 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The company's year end is 30th June 2028, and you are an audit manager of Grapefruit and Company. This is the firm name, Grapefruit. Your client name is Raspberry. The auditor of Raspberry Company, the interim audit has been completed, and you are reviewing the documentation describing Raspberry Company payroll system. Raspberry Company employs over 250 people, and approximately 70% of employees work in production at the power station. Means 70% people are labor. Working in production mean on hourly basis. There are 3 shifts every day. Obviously, power production will run 24 hours, so there will be 8 hours, 3 shifts. There are 3 shifts every day with employees working 8 hours each. The production employees are paid weekly in cash. The remaining 30% of employees work at the head office, mean admin staff in non-production roles, and are paid monthly by bank transfer. And monthly fixed amount is called salary, and variable amount based on hourly rate, that will be called wages. So there's difference between wages and salaries. Okay. The company has a human resource HR department responsible for setting up all new joiners. In there is segregation of duty. HR department for record maintenance. Pre-printed forms are completed by HR for all new employees. And once verified, a copy is sent to the payroll department for the employees to be set up for payment. So there is one control, there is segregation of duty between employee record maintenance and wage preparation. Why this is a control, good control? This will avoid creation of fictitious employees. Controls. We need to write down test of control. How we can write down test of control? Evidence will be sought by inquiry. that separate staff responsible for employee record maintenance and separate wages department is responsible for wage preparation. So one control and one test of control. 2 marks. If you have written down correct control, you will be having 1 mark. If you have written down correct test of control, you will be having 1 mark. The wording is very important. How to write down test of control by using the procedures word. Inspection, observation, in control. You don't need to use this word. Otherwise, this will be converting to test of control. While writing control, companies are having this. Okay. So what they are doing, pre-printed forms are completed by HR for all new employees, and once verified, a copy is sent to the payroll department for the employee to be set up for payment. This form includes the staff employee number, and payroll cannot be set up new joiners without this information. So this is also a good control. Like no new joiners will be created into the system without having the joiners of form, without having the verified joiners of form by the HR department. Through this, company can avoid creation of fictitious employee as new joiners. What is test of control? Take a sample of new joiners records.
Match with employee.
Match with the authorized employee form to ensure all new joiners are authorized through a form by HR department. Is that fine? To encourage staff to attend work on time for all shifts, Raspberry Company introduced a discretionary bonus paid every 3 months for production staff. Company is paying
Every 3 months.
bonus to the employees. The production supervisor determines the amount to be paid and notify the payroll department. If any employee have work performed better, he will inform to the payroll department, okay, this person has performed better, he is eligible for bonus. This quarterly bonus, every 3 months mean there are 4 quarters in a year. This quarterly bonus is entered into the system by a clerk, and each entry is checked by a senior clerk. So this is controlled. The bonus entered into the system is checked by a senior clerk who is checking authorization. This will make sure all bonus entered into the system are properly authorized. For input error prior to processing, and he is also checking the errors as well.
We have to put implications for.
And who is putting bonus into the system? Bonus amount into the system? Clerk.
Yeah, but like we need to put implications for controls,
We need to?
Implications for controls.
No. We are just highlighting controls. I mean, what is good in the company? We are just highlighting that, not weaknesses. Controls, obviously, we need to explain why this is a good control. Obviously, if a senior clerk is checking, he will highlight the errors and he will properly authorize the bonus into the system. What will be the test of control? The senior clerk sign the bonus listing as evidence to undertaking this review. Mean he is assigning bonus listing. So what we need to do? Evidence will be sought by comparing signed bonus list to system. The similar amount to ensure bonus is reviewed by the senior. If there are amount differences, it's not properly reviewed. If similar amounts, it is properly reviewed. Evidence will be sought by comparing employee bonus list to the system to ensure similar amount in the system, computerized system. In payroll system, clerk is entering amount of bonus, and that amount is authorized by senior clerk. How he is authorized? He is having a list of bonus and he is signing. So we need to make sure whether he has performed review properly or not. Means the amount he has assigned and to the system should be same.
Can't we say that take a sample of the bonuses, they can check if there are.
Or you can say like select a sample of a bonus from payroll system and compare with the bonus list signed by the senior clerk to verify review is performed properly without there is no difference between system and bonus list. Is it fine? Compare reconciliation. Production employees are issued with clock cards and are required to swipe their cards at the beginning and the end of their shift. This process is supervised by the security staff 24 hours a day. So clocking clocker process is supervised by security officer to ensure only present staff hours have been recorded to the system, not the absent employees. What will the test of control? Evidence will be sought by observation. At start of day and end of day, like employee card, clock card system is supervised by the security guard. Is it fine? Okay. Each card identifies the employee number and link into the hours of work report produced by the payroll system, which automatically calculates the gross and net pay along with relevant deduction. These calculations are not checked. This is weakness, but system calculating the pay, not by human, system calculating the pay. So there will be no human errors. Payroll will be calculated accurately by the system. Because if human beings are calculating charging rate, there could be chances of errors. If system is calculating everything, mean there is automated system to calculate wages payroll. So it will be free of errors. What is test of control? We need to recalculate some of the payroll figure on sample basis to verify system calculating the amounts accurately. So evidence will be sought by recalculation to verify system calculate the payroll accurately. In addition to tax reduction from pay, some employees' wages are reduced for such items as repayments of a student loan owed to the central government. Means employee have obtained student loan from the government, and company is deducting from their pay and paying to the government. Might be against loan, company has provided the security. Like we will deduct the amount and will pay. All employees have a statutory obligation to remit funds on a timely basis. That's why company is deducting from their pay, so that payment to the government should be paid on timely basis. And to maintain accounting records which reconcile with annual loan statement sent by government to employers. At Raspberry Company, student loan deduction forms are completed by the relevant employees and payment are made directly to the government until the employee notify HR that the loan has been repaid in full. So this is another good control, like each employee is completing a employee loan form by himself, giving authorization for deduction from the wages. Mean company is deducting loan repayment amount from the payroll against employee signed form. This is to make sure that employee have authorized the company to deduct the amount. And through this, company will be able to ensure, okay, for these employees, we need to deduct the amount and pay to the government. Mean through this, no employee will be missed from deduction and payments. So how we can perform test of control? Select a sample of employee loan repayments from payroll and compare with employee signed form that payments are made according to the signed form. Mean payments are authorized by the employee through signed form. On a quarterly basis, exception report. What is this exception report? Control weaknesses report. Mean if there is any problem in the system, those problems will be highlighted through a report called exception report. System is highlighted. So on a quarterly basis, exception reports relating to changes to the payroll standing data are produced. Standing data means master file, where employees ledgers are maintained, employee files are maintained. Like if anybody is accessing that file that is not authorized, system is recording that. And on quarterly basis, system is producing a report. Like on this day time, system has been accessed. On this day time, system has been accessed either through this password or this password. So on a quarterly basis, exception report relating to changes to the payroll standing data master file are produced and reviewed by the payroll director. So system is producing exception report and exception report is reviewed by the payroll director. This will highlight any fraudulent access to the system, any unauthorized access to the system, so that a company can control fraud. Good control. What is test of control? Evidence will be sought by reviewing the exception report against any action taken by the director to highlight issues. Our evidence will be sought by inquiry from the finance director, any action taken against exception report. Otherwise, there is no need for exception report if they are not taking any action against the issue highlighted. No overtime is worked by employees. Obviously, they are working 8 hours, so there is no need for overtime. Employees are entitled to take 28 holidays annually. Holidays request form are required to be completed and authorized by relevant line manager. However, this does not always occur. This is weakness. We will talk about later on. On a monthly basis, for employee paid by bank transfer, the senior payroll manager review the list of bank payments and agree this to the payroll record prior to authorizing the payments. If any error are noted, the payroll senior manager amend the records. So before this mean there is a review of a payment, mean two signatories authorizing the payment. Who has produced, like a payroll clerk? Who is authorizing payment? Payroll manager. Review and authorize. So two signatories are authorized to make payment. This will avoid misuse of payment. What is rest of control? Evidence will be sought by inspection that there are signature on the payment list by the payroll manager after review. For production employees in cash, paid in cash. For production employees paid in cash, the necessary amount of cash is delivered weekly from the bank by a security company. Two members of the payroll department produce the pay packets. One is responsible for preparing them and the other checks the finished pay packet. So there are two controls. Cash is transported under security company. So this will avoid any chances of theft or robbery during the transportation process from bank to company. How we can test? How we can observe? We can observe on the road. Company have hired any security company. This means there will be some payments to security company. If they are using security company, for what purpose? Cash transportation. Mean they are taking money from bank and providing to the company. Security van that would move cash from one place to another. There is always a person with a gun inside the van. There is a small, what you can say, hole at the back. They are watching on the road. Have you seen that kind of van? Normally bank uses for transferring money from one bank to another. So evidence will be sought by inspection of vouchers of security company. If there are vouchers, this means they are using security company. Obviously, if they are using security company for what? Using cash transportation. So evidence will be sought by inspecting vouchers of security company to ensure security company is used for transporting cash from bank to company.
What if the company doesn't transfer itself?
They can transfer, sir, might be they are not having any staff that can make sure the security.
Then what's the test of proof?
Might be they are working in Nigeria, Ghana. Anything happen during the way.
What if the company only does security?
I mean, they have asked any security company who move large cash from one place to another. So who will inspect a voucher of that security company, invoices of that security company. And there are two staff who are putting the money into the packet, one putting money and one recording. So this is also a good control. I mean, two person are responsible for packing the money into packets. This can avoid misuse of cash. What is test of control? Evidence will be sought by observation that two persons are available for putting money into the packets, cash into the packet. Both members of staff are required to sign the weekly payroll listing on completion of the task. The pay packets are then delivered to the production supervisor who distribute them to employees at the end of employee shift, as they know each member of their production team. Signature not obtaining. Monthly management accounts are produced which detail variance between budget amounts and actual. This is also good. The company is comparing actual with budgets to identify variances, to control variances. This will help to control variances. So what would be the test of control? Evidence will be sought by reviewing the various report to verify they have actual and budgeted has been compared and variances adjusted. Revenue and key production costs are detailed, however, as there are no overtime costs, so wages or salaries are not analyzed. Revenue and key production costs are detailed, however, as there are no overtime payments, wages and salaries are not analyzed. Means there is no analysis performed on wages and salaries. So part A we have completed. Now moving towards part B, 2, 3 weaknesses were straightforward. First was there, employee signatures are not obtained while giving them payment. So company will be having no proof of payments. So recommendation, while giving payments to employees, employee signature should be obtained.
So the distribution is by the production supervisor.
Who is distributing the cash? Production supervisor.
As you know, each member.
Production supervisor. So production supervisor is also recording the hours. So he could create fictitious hours and then distribute payment with each other. So there should be segregation of duty, like a person other than production supervisor, like accounts department should be responsible for distributing wages to the employees. Two issues.
No member of production team will be.
That's why he's not obtaining a signature, because he knew, okay, this person is that, okay, I'm giving you, but he could miss somebody. Okay, what else? Uh, if any errors are noted, the payroll senior manager amend the record. Who is amending the record? The payroll senior manager. What record? Payroll record. Where? In master file.
Master.
Obviously, where payroll is calculated? In master file, because all the employee records are there. So their payroll will be prepared and captured where? Master file. Who is amending the master file? Payroll senior manager. He's not properly authorized person. He could make mistakes. He could amend details of his own or his close friend and relatives as well.
He's a senior manager.
Senior manager. It should be top management, like payroll director should amend the master file rather than the senior manager. There was some other issue. Holiday request form are required to be completed and authorized by relevant line managers. However, this does not always occur. If holiday forms are not authorized always by the line manager, so employee could take unauthorized holidays, could take more holidays than they are allowed. That could result into loss for the company. Even if employees are taking more holidays, there will be some problem in production due to shortage of labor. So holiday form should all be authorized by line manager. There was issue here as well. At Raspberry Company, student loan deductions form are completed by the relevant employee and payment are made directly to the government until the employee notify HR that the loan has been repaid in full. Now there are issue. These calculations are not checked. Means system is producing automatically payroll, but there is no arithmetic check on the payroll. If there is no arithmetic check on the payroll, any errors by the system while calculating the payroll will not be identified and corrected.
Period is a control that the payment systems carry.
So we have identified the control. This was the control. But even a system could calculate wrong.
We can identify both control.
If system is not taking correct rate or correct hours, because those hours have been inputted wrong. So there should be arithmetic check performed by any separate person to identify the errors. 5. And we need to identify 5 weaknesses only. In this question, identification of weaknesses is a little bit complicated. Because for weaknesses, you have to read the whole scenario again, because you cannot work on 2 requirements while reading the scenario. You have to focus on 1 requirement, either controls, either weaknesses. In for weaknesses, you have to identify the whole question again. Or if there is any obvious straightforward weakness mentioned, that you can mark while covering part A. Okay, let's move toward another question. Question 114, yes. Question 114. Requirement A, we haven't covered till now. Yes, we will cover in next chapter. And requirement B for 14 marks. In respect of the internal control system of Swift Company, identify and explain 7 direct controls which the auditor may seek to place reliance on, and describe a test of control the auditor should perform to assess if each of these direct controls is operating effectively. Controls and test of control. Or should I leave this question for you, because there is a payroll system similar the question we have covered now, and there is purchase system. You will cover this question by yourself. I am moving towards one more difficult question. 109A. That was 114. 109A. Yep. Okay, question 109. Requirement A of the question for 12 good marks. Recommend 6 tests of control the auditor would normally carry out on the sales system of Tinkerbell. It's similar to that previous question, but you don't need to highlight the controls. What you need to do, oh, is back. So you need to identify 6 tests of control against the control that are in the question. Like in previous question, first we identified the control from the system, then we have written down test of control. In this question, we don't need to write the controls. We need to write down straightforward test of control. 6 tests of control the auditor would normally carry out on the sales system of Tinkerbell and explain the objective for each test. Mean what we are going to check from this test of control, what we are ensuring, we need to write down that objective separate. In previous question, we have written down test of control along with objective. Mean why we are comparing this, why we are observing this. Now we need to write down test of control separate and its objective separate. Regarding all the controls that are in place for this company in the scenario. So let's cover. Let me copy this. Control C. Control V. Okay. So Tinkerbell Company is a manufacturer of children building block toys. They have been trading for over 35 years and they sell to a wide variety of customers, including large and small toy retailers across the country. The company's year end is 31st May 20x1. So company manufacture and sell toys. Regarding sales system, we need to identify controls, but in answer, we need to write down test of control and the purpose behind the test of control, mean why we are performing this. The company has a large manufacturing plant, 4 large warehouses, and a head office. Upon manufacture, the toys are stored in one of a warehouse until they are dispatched to the customer. The company does not have an internal audit department. Sales, ordering, goods dispatch, and invoicing system. Each customer has a unique customer account number. And this is used to enter sale order when they are received in writing from customer. The order are entered by an order clerk and the system automatically checks that goods are available and that the order will not take the customer over their credit limit. So first, what is good control? Company is receiving order from their routine customer having a unique customer account number. Obviously, their ledger will be in the system. So this is a control. But we need to see whether orders are accepted from customer who are having a customer number or not. So evidence will be sought by inspection of a sale order and customer account number list. To verify orders has been accepted. This is to ensure purpose is separate. This is to ensure ordering department receiving order from the customer having a unique customer number. Or no order has been accepted from a customer having a no account customer number. And while receiving orders, system is checking stock availability. Goods are available and credit limit of the customer automatically. This is control. How we can perform test of control. The system is computerized. There is a computerized system. There is a procedure called test data to verify test of control. What is test data? It's a procedure through which we enter some dummy transaction into the system. And through results of our dummy transaction, we will able to ensure whether control is working properly or not. So using test data, enter an order into the system for overstock and over credit limit. Using test data, enter an order into the system for overstock and over credit limit to see system rejecting that order. What is the purpose? This is to ensure orders are accepted for stock available as well as according to customer credit limits. In test data, we perform some dummy transactions and that dummy transaction we perform wrong by prepare ourselves to see if system should reject this. So using test data, an order with overstock availability and over credit limit of customer will be entered into the system to see system rejecting the order. This is to ensure orders are accepted against the stock available as well as according to credit limit of the customer. Means system is performing this control. Is that fine? For new customers, a sale manager complete a credit application. This is checked through a credit agency and a credit limit entered into the system by the credit controller. So there are two controls. First, for new customer, they are checking credit worthiness through credit agency. How we can verify they have checked through credit agency?
Credit report.
Evidence will be sought by inspection of new customer accounts with the credit agency report by comparing with credit agency report. This is to ensure for new customer, credit worthiness has been checked by credit agency. And second, who is setting a credit limit? Credit controller. Who is setting credit limit? Credit controller, not the lower level person. So what could be the test of control? Whether credit controller has set the credit limit. How we can check that? So evidence will be sought by inspection of records relating to credit control authorization. This is to ensure all new customer accounts have been approved and credit limit set by the credit controller. In writing wording is a little bit complicated. First, you have to write down the procedure test of control, and then you have to write down the purpose objective, mean why you are performing this, mean what you are going to check through this test of control, what control you are going to check. The company has a price list which is updated twice a year. Larger customers are entitled to a discount, and this is agreed by the sales director and set up within the customer master file. Who is authorizing discount to customer? Sales director. How we can check that? Only sales director is authorized to assign discount to customer, not other than sales director. Using test data. Using test data, we will enter discount for the customer into the system to check system is rejecting the entry. Because only sales director through his password can enter the discount, no other person. Top level management, no other person. This is to ensure only sales director is authorized to put discount in the system, not any other person. The top level management is authorized to access master file. So we will access the master file through a dummy password to check access is denied by the system. This is to ensure only top management like sales director is authorized to have access to the master file and change the discount. Is that fine? This is a bit difficult question, not an easy one. Because drafting is difficult in this question. How to write down the wording of test of control and its objective mean purpose. Once the order is entered, an acceptance is automatically sent to the customer by mail, email, confirming the good orders and a likely dispatch date. Means system sending a confirmation of order to the customer. How we can make sure system is sending actually confirmation? Using text data, place an order into the system to see confirmation email has been received by the system. This is to ensure system confirming the order to the customer properly. Whether system is doing this or not, how we can check? We will place any order into the system like a customer to see whether system has confirmed to us. How system is confirmed? If you are placing order to the system, how system will confirm to you? Either they will send you a message, text message, or they will send you a email. So we need to verify whether this control is working or not. The order is then sorted by address of customer. The warehouse closest to the customer receive the order electronically, and dispatch list and sequentially numbered goods dispatch note are automatically generated. The warehouse team pack the goods from the dispatch list, and before they are sent out, a second member of team double check the dispatch list on the GDN which accomplish the goods. So before sending delivery, one person double checking the goods with the dispatch note mean we are delivering exact number of quantity. This is a good control. Mean they are not delivering less or more units. So evidence will be sought by observation. Before delivering, one person double checking the delivery goods against GDN. This is to ensure double check has been performed to avoid over or under delivery. Why they are checking? The number of units we are sending, suppose 70. On a note, there are 70 data. It shouldn't be more than 70. It shouldn't be less than 70. Once dispatched, a copy of GDN is sent to the accounts team at head office and is sequentially numbered sale invoice is raised and checked to the GDN. Mean they are comparing GDN to the invoice. What is rest of control? Select a sample of invoices. Take evidence they are compared with the GDNs by reconciling with GDNs. This is to ensure invoices are raised against goods dispatched. Periodically, a computer sequence check is performed for any missing sales invoice number. And we have completed, we need to identify 6 tests of control and their objective, but there is some part left as well. Fraud. During the year, a material fraud was uncovered. This is separate part, not relating to that we have covered so far. So during the year, a material fraud was uncovered. It involved cash check receipt from customers being diverted into employees' personal account. Mean cash receipt against sale from customer is going into employees' account, personal account. In order to cover up the fraud, receipt from subsequent unrelated customer would then be recorded against the earliest outstanding receivable balance. And this cycle of fraud would continue. Mean for first order, the cash received they have taken into their pocket. And for the next order, cash received they have been adjusted to previous order. And for next order, adjusting to second order. For fourth order, adjusting to third order, and this cycle continues. For the first order receipt, they have taken into their pocket. And the subsequent means second order receipt, they have adjusted to order 1. Third order receipt, they have adjusted to order 2. For third, it will be receivable amount due. While customer has paid, but in company record, amount is still due. The fraud occurred because two members of staff who were related colluded. Mean they collude with each other. One processed cash receipt and prepared the weekly bank reconciliation. The other employee recorded customer receipt in a sale ledger. So the cash receipt, the other employee is adjusting to the previous receivable. And the person who is preparing bank reconciliation, he is showing over there as what could be the issues in bank reconciliation? Uncredited checks, unpresented checks. It will be uncredited check. An unrelated sales ledger clerk was supposed to send out a monthly customer statement, but this was not performed because companies are not sending customer statements to the customer. Because if they send, obviously customer will say, I have paid this amount. Then this will be highlighted. But this control is not performed by the company. That's why there is no difference between company records and employee records because these things are not highlighted because company is not sending customer statement to them. The bank reconciliation each had a small unreconciled amount. Obviously, the order amount will not be the same. So there could be some differences between bank reconciliation, but no one reviewed the reconciliation after they were prepared. That's why this fraud is not detected. So the fraud was only uncovered when the two employees went on holiday at the same time. And somebody who is working in accounts department instead of them, if he found are differences and he went into detail, he investigated into detail, and he has discovered there is a fraud. And it was discovered that cash receipt from different customers were being applied to older receivable balances to hide the earlier sums stolen. What is the requirement? Requirement C. Identify and explain controls Tinkerbell should implement to reduce the risk of a fraud occurring again, and for each control describe how it would be mitigated the risk. What control company should adopt? And through that control, how company can mitigate the risk of fraud again. What control company should adopt? First, they should send customer statement on monthly basis. Regular reconciliation. Through this, if there will be any differences between customer accounts and company account, so the differences will be investigated and this kind of fraud can be detected. Second, the differences in bank reconciliation should be reviewed and investigated. Through this, company can highlight why there is differences, and through that you can identify the payments against which orders are adjusted. Third, there should be rotation of accounts staff on regular basis. If one staff is working longer time, he will be involved in fraud. But if you rotate the staff, the new staff coming will identify. Mean the fraud will not happen long time. So three controls and how they can mitigate, we can provide for 6 months. What is part B? Describe audit procedures the auditor should perform to confirm Tinkerbell's revenue. Substantive procedure to verify revenue. 1, 2 for occurrence, 1, 2 for completeness, 1, 2 for cutoff. Trace a sample of sale ledger balances to relevant sale invoices and agree details. This is to ensure sales are supported by invoices. Trace a sample of sale invoices to relevant dispatch note and agree detail. This is to ensure invoices are raised against good dispatched. Trace a sample of sale order to relevant dispatch note and agree detail. This is to ensure all orders have been converted into dispatches. Trace a sample of dispatch notes raised in the first week of next period to relevant invoices in ledger balances. This is to ensure sales and receivables have been recorded in next period of, because company try to record next period sales to current period. We can write down for substantive procedure. You know, these 6 marks are relating to scenario. There is no topic involved in these 6 marks of part C. Is based on common sense. Some people are having and some do not have. If you are having common sense, even it doesn't work in exam pressure. In this paper, examiner not only testing your knowledge, they are testing your nerves as well. Like for this type of question, how you control your nerves, how to use your common sense and write something. If you are confused, oh, we haven't studied this topic. Might be teacher have missed this topic. This is no topic involved. This is according to the scenario, according to the situation, use your common sense. So try to attempt these questions that we have covered today. Without attempting, you will not be able to write down correct answer in the exam paper. And please try to attempt either today or maximum by tomorrow. After tomorrow, knowledge will become weaker. You will not be able to attempt a quality answer to gain full marks.
How much time we should take per question?
Per question, how much time we should take? 1.5 minute for 1 mark. 1.5 minute for 1 mark.